What happened, Shar? You're pretty informed. You're well informed, right?
I try to be. Yeah. So it was announced yesterday that Star Trek Discovery's 5th season will be its last. And from what I understand, this announcement basically went out to everybody, including the cast, yesterday. Somebody on the cruise said that Doug Jones found out while he's on the boat.
Wow.
And I was thinking, that stinks for those guys.
Aww.
And it sounds like they had done like the filming of the season, but they're going to wrap it up properly, shoot a little bit more. And that way there is some sort of conclusion to it. It's kind of a bummer. And yet with the Paramount cutbacks being announced, I can't say I'm completely surprised. Mm-hmm. It just stinks though.
Yeah, because if they had to cut back on something, let's say they just said, look, we got to get rid of something. I mean, they can't get rid of Prodigy, which just got off the ground. They also probably are fully ensconced with Nickelodeon. So they can't really, I don't know how much, if they have the Trump power of vetoing everything and saying, sorry, Nickelodeon, or if everything has to be 50-50, in which case Nickelodeon would say, no, you're not canceling it. Lower Decks is doing fine. Strange New Worlds just started and is wildly popular. Picard's already on its way out. You can't cancel Short Treks because we haven't seen one in 3 years. So,
and Lower Decks is on a roll. Also, and I might be wrong, animation cheaper to make than a live action series?
Seems that way. Especially like Discovery, I think it's something like $4 million an episode or something.
Insanely expensive. And isn't there also that thing when I've heard like the business end of podcasts talking about like 90s Trek? Isn't there also that thing where every single season gets more expensive because you have to pay the actors more? And like this is a cast with a lot of star power.
Oh
and
yeah.
Also having them like paying for their lodging. Plus all the other stuff. And then I know Larry was saying that their warehouse is now in Toronto, like to store all the Star Trek stuff, but it's nowhere near as much as like back in the day in the 90s. So you can't start like saving on props because also Discovery like jumped timelines. So there's only so much you can reuse.
True.
Yep. It is an expensive show.
Yep. So that was probably their easiest choice. So they went for it. I know a lot of people are disappointed.
See, when the news first dropped yesterday, my first thought was, which one is it? Was it that they knew about this a year ago? They wrote the 5th and final season, they shot it, and they're just now telling us? Or did they shoot season 5 thinking there was still going to be a 6 or 7, and they just found out recently? Probably not at the same day as we did, right? Turns out it's probably the latter. Because
that's what it sounds like.
The word is that they're going back and shooting more. And you wouldn't shoot more. This news wouldn't make you shoot more if you had already closed out. So it sounds like they shot season 5 and were, getting ready to shoot season 6 or write it out or whatever it was. And then they got this news and now they're like, well, we can't just end it like original series on just like a final episode. It's a final episode, but not a finale. And
no turnabout intruders, please.
Right.
Well,
exactly.
And maybe they went back to the drawing board to look at the budget that they have for upcoming Trek. And if they want to make room for new Trek, they had to, say goodbye to a current show. And with the way the numbers look, that was the choice.
And
maybe.
So many more. It's like Larry had said there could have also been an idea of
Dr. Trek
in the works, of like an abbreviated season 6 as the last season. So in reality, that is sort of what we're getting,
right?
But they're calling it season 5 because they're going back to shoot basically. You could say it's an abbreviated season 6 because it's not.
I don't think they're going to shoot more episodes. They're probably just shooting. Yeah, they're probably, I mean, who knows, but they could be shooting as little as 5 minutes. But basically but it's probably not. It's probably going to be a lot more,
I know that Anthony Rapp is like stuck in New York until at least the end of April because he's doing a one-man show on Broadway.
Right.
Maybe that's why the second half of the news is delayed until 2024 is because they can't just go back and reshoot these last little bits and then still pop it out. They probably have to build sets. the people's schedule was probably not open until next year when they were planning on shooting season 6. There are probably all these things where they said, all right, well, let's just shoot 10 more minutes of footage to close this out and make this beautiful. And they're like, our cast is out living their lives right now for the next 4 months.
Really,
they're doing
Yeah.
great point.
and they got to build sets. They have to, there's
They
probably
got to
a
rewrite
lot to,
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Also,
write
when
more.
when you do the math of like how many other things are sort of like also geared up to go, like 10 of Strange New Worlds, 6 more or 7 more Picards, 10 Lower Decks, and then up to 20 Prodigies. That takes us through the end of the year anyway.
But will there be a break in the spot that where Disco was supposed to go, kind of like late spring, early summer-ish, maybe?
Well, see, Shar, now you're sneaking into what's next for Star Trek, and the fans didn't want to hear that, which is too bad because I think that's fascinating, right? I mean, like, who doesn't want to know? I thought we were a world of yeah, but what does this mean for me, right? What's up with Star Trek? What's
when am
next?
I going to get the Star Trek?
I know, but these guys, they don't.
Well, let me just say also that this makes me even more like reflective and grateful that we had Discovery, and I think it's really respectful that they're doing this so that it ends on with some closure, and we see where everybody's going to, and that just shows like how much they respect the fans, because it's not fun when the series ends and you're just stuck. I hate it. Like drives us all insane for like half a decade or half a century.
I am glad they're giving them closure.
We are still crying about Enterprise and their ending, and which I hope they give Discovery a better ending than Enterprise.
Yeah.
Well, they'd have to try to make it worse.
Yeah. And as all the actors are tweeting out, like, it's just like they get to be in the Star Trek family forever, which is just amazing. And one other thing I'll also add, as I was seeing people like Emily Coots tweet that, I was just like, so one thing that was an issue is that I still don't really know anything about her character, and I always wanted to, and it's so annoying that I'll never know. And I'll never know the difference between Bryce and Reese.
Same.
That's what all the fanfic will be for.
That kind of thing like really shines a light on they sort of were missing something that
I wrote some fan fiction after the first season of Discovery. I wrote fan fiction about the bridge crew. I gave them each a story about Bryce, Reese,
it's really
Owashkin, Arium,
that's where I learned the most about Bryce and Reese.
Right, and so then that way, everybody got their story. I think I called it Middle Decks. This was before Lower Decks was announced, so I thought I was being so clever, right, calling it Middle Decks because there was Lower Decks the episode. But I put that in my Discovery group back in whatever it was, 2017.
Yeah, that's some good literature.
Something like that.
It's really good.
Thanks. I wouldn't call it literature.
But people should check it out. It was the first time that I felt a connection to the Discovery Bridge crew.
Me too. I just was like, hey, these characters deserve a story and a personality. They did develop them a little bit though as the seasons went on.
I'm connected to them, but that's what hurts so much because like I'm connected to them and I don't know like enough about them, and it's just that's the saddest part of all. Like having to leave them without getting to know more.
Who's your favorite of the bridge crew?
I don't even know. But I mean, I think they're all tied for people I want to hear more about.
It's true. Hey everybody, meteorologist Katie is joining us, and we're talking about Discovery.
Are you wearing a Snuggie?
I made a Snuggie. I am like so blasted cold right now. You can tell my cheeks. But what were we talking about?
Oh, they're rosy.
They're very rosy.
Discovery's crew, like their bridge crew, and how Anne-Marie said, this is the 5th and final season now, and we may never know more about the bridge crew. We're going to say goodbye to them, but who knows? I don't know.
Oh, and lots of emotions when I saw that. And like, Discovery has so many characters that it can go into. And it's just like, I don't know, maybe miniseries, spinoffs. I could see like a Bridge Crew spinoff, all the one-liner people.
Mm-hmm.
So the end of the
What
poll.
I'm happy about is that like it seemed so Doug Jones on the cruise said said that he had heard about it like this morning. The whole cast, they all had like a massive Zoom to talk about it, and then
but when
kind of,
though?
like, yesterday morning.
Oh right, but I'm sure they knew. I'm sure they knew.
Well, one
about
thing
it months
that
ago,
to keep
right?
in mind is that Wilson Cruz was just on Tig Notaro's podcast like less than a month ago, and he had said, "Oh, you know, it's coming in like soon in this early, like sometime in the spring." So like it seems like based on that discussion between the two of them that they didn't know, and that's what.
But they said that they're currently shooting more stuff right now. So if they're currently shooting more stuff, whoever's shooting has to know.
Yeah,
or maybe
at the very least.
Maybe they're planning on shooting more stuff. And
maybe the reports are that they're currently shooting, but those are just what the reports are.
It's like the immediate thought that I had was if they had finished the season, didn't know that this was happening, maybe they would come back and film a special episode, like an extended episode, just to wrap everything up.
They're
kind
doing
of like
a Tasha
Enterprise,
Yar thing.
but please don't kill anyone. Yeah, exactly.
Please don't kill anybody, please.
And then Doug Jones was also like, then I talked to my love interest, Tara Rosling, Tarina, and I was like, oh my God, yes, I love this. I better get way more of them in this season. I love that. And they better live happily ever after.
Our good buddy in the beautiful Central Valley of California, Dead Purple 7 says, meteorologist Katie has got the right idea. I'm going to go grab another blanket.
Do it. I have a hot water bottle, a blanket, and hot chocolate. Like,
yum. That's what you're drinking.
That.
With marshmallows.
It's snowing 2 to 3 inches of snow an hour. So
my God.
I have to stay warm.
No, thank you.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. And my camera.
I'm glad you're there and I'm not.
You know, John Orchiola makes a really great point too in the live chat that, like, first of all, 5 years in the streaming atmosphere is nothing. Like, that's amazing. And then I think also when you keep in mind, like, they started filming, I think in 2015. It's not even just. I mean, that's longer than the 7 years of filming that our other shows had. That lasted the longest. So that's actually impressive.
I'm very impressed. But I'm keeping warm with the winner of the poll, which was Guajillo Chile. Actually, I don't think they pronounce the G. It's probably Guajillo Chile. Somebody that's a native speaker, let me know. It's like guacamole or